The title of my speech is The Hidden Beauty of the African American Culture. My general subject is culture, and my specific subject is African American culture. My purpose is to inform my audience that the African American culture has had a great impact on the American culture as we know it today. I'll be covering three main points today. My first point is African Americans have triumphed with success in a world and culture which was designed to oppress them and always control them. Point number two is African Americans are a people full of creativity and talent. And point number three, what are some of the dangers facing the African American culture? Who are African Americans? Where did we come from? And why are we here in America? Most of the African Americans that are in America have African descent. Most of our ancestors were imported from Africa back in the early 1700s by slave traders. We were brought to America to be slaves, to be ruled and controlled and oppressed. In spite of all the years of torment through slavery and racial abuse, the African American has still risen above all opposition and still have impacted the culture in which we live, the American culture. Point number one, African Americans have triumphed with success in a world and culture which was designed to always control and oppress them. Through slavery, through racial segregation, African Americans have always been considered as the second-class citizens. Even once Abraham Lincoln signed the bill to release the slaves were always seen to be separated. Then they experienced a lot of segregation. At that time, they even passed the Jim Crow law, which basically legalized separation. These were all considered equal but separate. Separate schools, separate churches, separate banks, and so forth. And in spite of that, the African Americans still rose above opposition, and we created our own banking systems, we created our own schools, and we created our own churches. So we still rose above the opposition. Point number two, African Americans are people full of creativity and full of talent. As we look through our society today, we can see many of the accomplishments of famous African Americans. We can see accomplishments from Oprah Winfrey to now even Barack Obama, to football players, to basketball players, to golf. But these are just some of the big ones today. Did any of you ever know that it was a black African American that created the potato chip? Or that it was even an African American that created the stoplight? Well, did you know it was the African American that enhanced Thomas Edison's invention of the light bulb? Because his original version only lasted a couple of minutes, but it was the black American that actually enhanced to make the light bulb last this long. From many inventions, from atomic bombs to so many different things as far as with the railroad system, that black African Americans have played a major part in creating the society and culture that we live in today. Even from the music, our creativity as far as our music and our arts have impacted America. We have impacted other countries and nations with our music, from R&B to hip-hop to jazz to soul. Almost every facet of music has been impacted by the African American music. Point number three, what are some of the dangers that are facing the African American culture? One of the main dangers and risks of the African American culture is a breakdown of the family. African Americans have always held family in high regards. They have always been close with family. Even one time during slavery, when they were separated from their families, they always tried to get back to their families, whether they were able to buy them back or to free them. And in cases that they weren't able to buy back their families, they always developed other family relationships. So one of the big things that our breakdown is in our family. Back in the late 60s, early 70s, almost 68% of the African American homes had a mother and a father, was ran by married couples. Now, you find that very slim. Now, most of the African American homes are led by single parents, and most often it's single mothers. Another thing that's impacting the culture of the African Americans is a lack of education and an increase in poverty due to some of the education and family issues. Another thing that's impacting is greatly increasing in the incarceration of the African males. So, in conclusion, African American people are people that are rich in history and culture. We are full of creativity and talent. And as we have known from history that whatever we do together, we can accomplish. Although in society it seems that the heart of our culture is fastly slipping away from us, I believe that if we come together, like our ancestors did in the past, we can regain all the riches of our African American culture. Let's not let Barack Obama fight the fight of change alone, but let us join in and effect change together. Thank you.